They fixed the pool here in Ogallala. You can't see it now. Well, there's one right here. That's a pretty good sized one right there. Although don't be fooled, just because they fixed the entry point, there are some deeper, way worse lakes, maybe even oceans back there. Again, if you're in Ogallala and you don't have to go into the semi area, don't do it. You know, if you just have a truck and a camper, then you should go right over here and avoid yourself some serious damage if you're just simply not paying attention where to not drive in that jungle. Yep, you're seeing it. We are staying at the old Quality Inn because, well, it's like 100 degrees from here, Ogallala, all the way down to Denver, and I do not want to be running down that little stretch of 76 while it's 100 degrees and my coolant temp is running, you know, that 200 or just over 200. So let's check in real quick. Just need the highlighted areas filled out. Thank you for that. Room's really easy to get to, easy access. Show you on our map here. I cleaned out the radiator the other day. I had watched DIYSEMI YouTube channel talk about just overheating issues in the summer when you're pulling hills or if it's just really hot out. And one of the things he had mentioned was just cleaning your radiator. And so I did that. Tried to show you here, and it was pretty, we'll say bug filled, but more so a decent amount of fins are bent, and so that could be some of the issues when it comes to overheating or just the temps getting hotter. I don't know if that's picking that up, but you know, it looks like it's at its better days. I can't really get in to see here, so if that's causing some of it, I don't know. Again, I don't think 200 degrees or 205 maybe is, since I have a high-tech temp gauge, it, you know, tells me the exact degree. But I don't think those are alarming temps. Again, it's just not the truck's normal. And for the fellow transporters out there, or just if you've been heading into Denver from the east, it's kind of no man's land, and so it would just be a really bad spot to get stuck at. You know, you get to Sterling and then I believe there's nothing for a while. So I'm gonna leave super early in the morning. It'll be cool. It'll probably be, I think I can leave around like 4 or so. I'm gonna time it out to where I leave and I should get to Cousins right at 8:30 so that I'm not wasting precious time on the clock, because then I'm just gonna have to book it straight back up. I may even get a backhaul this time. I saw some on Central Dispatch paying $700 from Denver to Des Moines. I just haven't done them for so long because of the pain in that my rig is, and not having the right ramps for that second tier, not having the right ramps for that, you know, jump right here with how the frame of the chassis is. So, but it's easy to you know, get a little, we'll say money hungry, not in a bad way, but just, you know, you see those on there and you're like, well, hell, I'm already there. It's gonna add an extra hour. I don't have anything big planned for when I get back. Like, literally give yourself an extra $650 after the company takes their cut on a weekly basis. Like, that's a pretty good chunk of change. That's $2,400 a month. That's nuts. As I head to the pool, just, you know, to enjoy the little staycation I have, my question is, would one of these, would they suffice as a towaway single pole unit, allowing you to have access to backhauls? Because, well, you saw it, you can winch one up. If so, that could be extremely lucrative situation. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that current to date, so this video you're watching is from an older trip, but you know, on this trip, which don't miss the video for this one, it's gonna be wild and it should be out next week. But you know that I'm in a hotel right now, partly because I ran out of time. I'm in Denver, just outside of Denver, and I'm dropping in Fountain, so ran out of time, but also I need to get to Fountain to drop today. Again, this trip's video will be coming out next week and you don't want to miss it. But it was upper 90s yesterday, trucks going upwards to 200, passing 200. And you know, if you're somebody that just kind of pays attention to the details, you notice the little things. So you know, if I would get at 1500 RPMs, it would start to, you know, get up to 200 degrees. When I go down to 14 and 1300, which again, 1300 is its peak torque, whatever, drops under 200, and it will hang out around 185, 195-ish. The moment I get to 1500 or higher, goes up to 200. And again, that just doesn't seem normal for the amount of miles I've put on that truck so far, with how its coolant temp always stays the same. Another thing that I've noticed is if I'm driving it for a while like that, maybe I talked about this in a previous video, but some fan like just always seems to kick on more frequently. Like, you know, every other minute or every 30 seconds for about 10 seconds, it'll kick on and then turn off. My mechanic back at home said that's nothing to worry about. But yeah, so this is going to be the end of this video. But a question for you to put in the comments is it alarming if you're at 200 degrees, or is it more that 225? Like, you know, do you keep driving or do you shut it down? What are some of the things that I guess I should be looking at in terms of, you know, is it the radiator, like those fins are damaged so it's not dissipating heat like it should? And to that, I mentioned that I had watched a DIYSEMI, and I'll post a link to his channel here. I'll maybe try to tag him in the video itself. As I'm editing this video now, I felt like if you're still watching it at this point, then you should probably have the cool take-home notes that he had talked about in his video. So I got some notes here. If I look down over here, it's what I'm looking at. But one, he had mentioned if you're overheating because it's the dead of summer, you're pulling hills, you know, whatever it is, you're not just driving empty and your truck's overheating. But one, slow down. So he talks about, you know, hey, the more horsepower and the more speed, it demands more fuel, which in turn means more heat to your engine. And we're trying to not have that happen, right? The second thing was turn your cruise control off. And I've done this every time during the summer that this has been an issue. He had talked about when your cruise is on, you know, the truck's computer, when you're taking on a hill, it kicks full throttle, 100% throttle to the engine. So therefore, you're creating more work, more heat. Just, you know, like I've mentioned in a video before, don't be afraid to drive like a grandma. You know, I don't care if I'm going 70 at the bottom of the hill and 50 at the top. Like, I'm just gonna ease my way up. And then, like I mentioned prior, keep the radiator clean. You know, no bugs, the dented fins, which I think that's my issue, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, keep your radiator clean. It should be noted, you know, have a bug guard on there and then just keep your bug guard clean, but then your radiator doesn't, you know, take the punishment. Another thing he had mentioned was, you know, keep a clean air filter so the engine can pull the air it needs and be as efficient as it should be when it comes to that mix of fuel and air to drive the truck. And then one thing that I'm really intrigued about, so whether needed or not, I'm probably gonna replace this, was he talked about if you have an older truck nearing 1,000,000 miles, was look at replacing the muffler, because it could be built up with a lot of soot. It could be just essentially causing a backup, which in turn causes more work for your engine. So if you guys know, my truck is, I think I'm at 825,000 miles on it, like to date. I can't imagine the muffler's been changed on it. So that's something interesting to look into replacing. And then he mentions turning the AC off. So this is after watching his video. I do this, turn the AC off, turn the heat on, and then when the heat is on, it is pulling coolant, circulating it through the heater core to help dissipate the heat, therefore giving us a safer situation, right? One of the other things he mentioned, and this was something that I didn't even think of, again, I'm not mechanically savvy, but it was to keep your RPMs a little bit higher. Not redlining it by any means, but your engine drives those pumps that are feeding the coolant through the radiator, through the different heater core and whatnot to help dissipate the heat. So if your engine is idling really low, well, it's not being as effective as it could. So keeping the idle a little bit higher so that you're ensuring that coolant is, circulating like it should be. And then he has a few more things on there, and he goes into better detail of it. But the check engine light comes on, like you're really overheating, pull over immediately. He mentions overheating is the fastest way to melt your engine. And what's it cost to replace an engine? More than it costs to get a fucking hotel room, I'll guarantee you that. But he mentions don't shut your truck off right away. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first to kind of admit that I would think, okay, turn my truck off so like it's not causing more damage. But that coolant, that heat still needs to be dissipated. So let your truck run, let it cool down naturally before shutting it off. And then wait before you take off again. Again, if you haven't, check out the video that the DIYSEMI guy has put into the YouTube world. I'll post a link in the description. And that's it. Let's continue on. Yeah, if you're on the road in the summer, just pay attention, to those little things. I think it's easy to just get in the zone of driving and then you're just kind of looking down the road and not checking your gauges. And then the next thing you know, boom, check engine light comes on, or whoa, holy crap, temp is really high, or I'm overheated, I have to pull over. And then something major just happened, So that's it. Until the next video, be on the lookout. We are over 3,000 subscribers, which is just freaking crazy. So I am putting together, I have to get everybody's name that used the code word Mavic, put it into a list, and then I'm going to use an online random picker in a live video. So be on the lookout for that live video. I'll give you like a 24-hour, 48-hour notice of when I'm going to go live for the subscriber giveaway. And yeah, we'll keep growing the channel. We'll keep trying to work in some more drone footage. I bought it was a used Insta360 camera. So when you see those cool, weird looking shots, that's that 360 camera. So yeah, that's all I got for you. All right, guys. Hey, until the next video.